I asked the Lord what He wanted me to show His people, and He gave me a vision the next morning when I woke up. And sometimes He does that when I ask Him. Sometimes He just gives it, and sometimes I just feel led to ask. I don't know why. I just do. And so, to go with this, the Lord gave me a dream, and then He also gave me confirmation. So, first it started with two people coming to me. These are two friends that were on. They don't talk to each other or anything, so they were both talking to me separately about God's protection. And so, a couple days later, after the last person talked to me about God's protection, I had a dream. And that dream was I was in this house, and a close relative next to me, or near me, was taking a shower. And I could just tell that something was going to happen. A storm was coming. And I ran over to knock on the door and try to get this person's attention, and they couldn't hear me. And they had earphones in. So I knew that, that was representation of not being able to hear in the spirit or anything. And so then all of a sudden, the roof came off of that portion of the house over top of him. Not the part that I was in, but the top over him. And all of a sudden his eyes were open, and he was willing to pay attention, because that was God saying, I'm removing the protection. I've been trying to get your attention. And sometimes God has to do extreme things to get our attention. To go with this, the Lord gave me a vision 2 days later when I asked Him what He wanted me to reveal, or what He wanted me to show His people. And so in the vision, I saw Jesus in His white robe. He was looking down, and there was this white cover. And I don't know if it was over a boat. I'm not sure what it was. It kind of looked like a boat, but it had like valuable things in it. And so I saw the Lord pulling the cover over it, like He was protecting it. And so when I went to write all this down, I realized all of this went together. The dream, the vision, and two people talking to me about God's protection. So God wanted to talk about His protection. And one thing I forgot to add is the Lord was first, I saw Him fully, but then all of a sudden He turned into an outline. And I knew God was saying, I want you to outline everything for me. I want you to outline it to them. So, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to break it all down so to hopefully help you understand what He wanted to show. So in the dream, the example was someone that was turning away from God, someone that could not hear spiritually because they've rejected God, or they don't seek Him fully, or they aren't wanting that relationship with God. And so He will be very patient for a very long time, but eventually even God knows that He has to use some kind of extreme measure for some people. And that some people can't understand why some things happen. Well, that's one of the reasons God's showing that, I've been patient, but you're still rejecting and denying me. And so I'm going to take the protection off. Or I'm going to do something extreme to get your attention, is what He's really trying to say. Just like a father in the world, He's going to, do things that He needs to do in order to get His child's attention, or to protect His child. And God is the same. He just has His own ways of doing things. Just as every father has their own ways of doing things, God does also. So the vision, Jesus was showing me that, however, if you do belong to God, if the white tarp, or the white cover, was God's bride, was the bride of Christ. And He was protecting that. So if you are, and there's scriptures that prove God's protection over His people. God will protect His own people. And so Him pulling that white cover over these valuable things was the bride, was Him protecting His bride. And He wants His bride to know that He is going to still protect His bride, even if you see things around you that are not protected. So the Lord is just wanting to open the eyes spiritually of some of His children so that you can see and hear. And that is only for your protection. And that is a blessing to you that some of you don't even realize, because you haven't heard God yet. So you don't think that He can actually speak, or you think that, He's a distant thought, and the same as I did for years. But God does speak. And he has instructions laid out of how to hear him, how to get there. But most people, I'm learning that they would rather have fun, or they would rather just enjoy the world than to seek out what's beyond this world. There is things beyond this world. There's a pattern. There's patterns in God's people. There's patterns in the world. All that came from God. And he's showing me all these patterns. And if you truly pay attention, you will find out how real God is. And you'll have a relationship with him. I'm not the only one that can have this relationship. There's other people. Those other people are not the only ones that can have this relationship with God. You can have a relationship with God too. Ask, seek, and knock with all your heart, and you'll find him. Because when God takes his protection off of the world or different nations, you don't want to be left behind. You guys have a blessed day.